I'm Dr. Cemaine Tsang. I'm a veterinarian here in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. And I'm also the program head of Saskatchewan's only veterinary technology training program, which is located at Saskatchewan Polytechnic. Our veterinary technology program, it's a diploma. It offers a 2-year diploma in veterinary technology. It is a full-time program. We are accredited by the Canadian Veterinary Medical Association. And so that word accredited is really important in our context. What it means is that there's a guarantee that we're teaching to industry's requirements. And also graduates of our program can write a licensing exam called the Veterinary Technology National Exam, which allows, upon successful completion, individuals to actually work in just about every jurisdiction across North America. And then also our accredited diploma, together with successful completion of that VT&E, meets the requirements to become a registered veterinary technologist in Saskatchewan, Alberta, Manitoba, and also all the maritime provinces. So in terms of our program itself, we are, as mentioned, a 2-year program. We accept students each year in September. We have 24 students that we accept to our in-person program, which is located in Saskatoon out of our Idlewild campus. And then we also have an additional 8 blended distance seats that can be located anywhere in Canada. I do say Canada, but I'm just gonna warn anyone who's interested that you really do want to be in Saskatchewan, Alberta, or Manitoba, because when that term blended distance is used, what it means is that a portion of your classes are going to be in person and you have to come to campus about 5 times a year. Okay, so our academic term or academic year runs from September to June. We have 3 terms, so fall term, winter term, and then that spring semester is May to June for our in-person seats, and then also May to June for the first year in the distance program, and May to July for our distance second year program. If you are accepted to our program, know that our classes are 5 days a week. They're Monday to Friday, and they go right from 8 o'clock to 4 o'clock. We also have some additional evening or weekend programming. If you're in our distance cohort, then we actually bring you in on weekends and during those school breaks to complete a number of your required in-person labs. So the average work week for a student is 25 hours per week in classes plus clinicals on top of that. So in semesters 1 to 3, that's your first year of the program, and we really try and cover most of those basic science and basic veterinary science classes. So classes you'll be taking then are applied math, chemistry, anatomy and physiology, so a lot of those core sciences. You'll also take specific animal science courses such as behavior, behavior, introduction to pathology and animal diseases, and then large animal medicine as well. You'll be introduced to some live handling courses and some nursing courses, such as how to take a heart rate, how to monitor for respiratory function, how to check for hydration status, and those general health parameters in our animals. And then there's also an introduction to the industry. And I'll talk more about that when we get to a little bit about our work placements and how we incorporate them into our program. When you get into second year, we really start getting into veterinary medicine itself. And so in that fall term, you're going to hit a lot of those veterinary specific courses like introduction to anesthesia, pharmacology, small animal medicine, how to perform a lot of those diagnostic testings, procedures that happen in our veterinary clinics, surgical nursing skills. And then in the last 2 semesters of year 2, which are semesters 5 and 6, this is where you get to have the fun hands-on, and you're going to go out into your work placements, and then also attend clinical rotations. And so you get 10 weeks of practical experience in work placements, and that's sending you out to facilities anywhere in Canada where you basically start working, introducing yourself to the role of a vet tech in these facilities. And then you also have 7 weeks of clinical rotations. And that's where you'll really have that wonderful opportunity to be a student, to have someone watching you, teaching you, guiding you through all those troubleshooting and things that could happen while you're working on live patients in a hospital setting. So our program has, as mentioned, 2 parts to it. So we have our in-person cohort, which is located in Saskatoon at our Idlewild campus. And then we also have our blended distance program. And as of right now, we're accepting 8 students each year for those blended distance seats. It's the same accreditation, it's the same curriculum. We assess by the same standards, and we're looking for those same outcomes of learning, but it's a different delivery mode. And what we're hoping is that it's created some flexibility for those of you who maybe have work or family commitments, or maybe you're already working for a veterinary clinic as a layperson, and now you're looking to get your professional credentials. So that would be fantastic for those of you who are in that position. So now, if you're interested in this program, 80% of the learning is accessible through distance. So the majority of our lectures are available in recorded format. So we call that asynchronous learning. It's a great opportunity if you have kids and you know that you have to get the kids ready for school, pick them up after school, and you can attend lectures during then. Well, we have those recorded for you so you can pick them up at night when you do actually have time, when the kids are in bed. And that's one of the examples that our current students are using. Or if you're working part-time too, and you need to study around your work hours. We do have some components that do have to be in real time. So know that you have parts of the week where you'd have to come in and attend group sessions or learning that's conducted through Zoom. And a large component though that is self-study, and self-study courses and modules. And then also you'll have your host clinic where you're going to learn a lot of your clinical skills through the host clinic as opposed to in a classroom laboratory setting. 80% of this program is through distance. And then for the remaining 20%, we actually bring you back to Saskatoon. And so for that 20%, we call those our in-person residencies. There's 1 to 2 per term, every single term. And they're usually about 3 days long. And then in semester 5, you're going to have 1 residency that's probably about a week long. And then in semester 6, you do have 5 weeks where you do need to be in Saskatoon in order to attend clinical rotations at the Western College of Veterinary Medicine. If you're interested in our program, take lots of math, lots of science, and work on your writing. So our requirements to get into the program to complete grade 12 with a minimum 70% in biology 30, chemistry 30, either foundations of math 30 or pre-calculus 30, and a combined 70% average in English language arts A30 and B30. So math is a big component of being a veterinary technologist. The role includes, calculating drug doses, working with weights and volumes and measurements, and our allowance for error is actually 0 when it comes to how much drug you give to an animal. Because if you're off by 1%, 1 decimal place, or if you double or you round off wrong, you can potentially kill something. So having competence in math is really important. It is all about science. So understanding your biology and your chemistry is really important. And then when you're in the job place, everything that we do in the veterinary world requires that we have medical record keeping, and these are legal documents. So being able to make sure that they're accurate is part of the job. And there's also, as a vet tech, that requirement to have written communication with our clients, with other professionals in the field. And that's where that need for good communication skills comes in as well. Applicants have to have 60 hours of volunteer in an industry-related area prior to applying to the program. A minimum of 30 hours and up to all 60 hours has to be in or can be in a veterinary practice. So that would be reaching out to your local veterinarian and saying, hey, I'm applying to the vet program. Can I come complete my 60 hours of volunteer to apply with your clinic? And around Saskatchewan, just about every single practice knows that we have this requirement. So if you go and you propose it that way, they'll know what you're talking about. We do allow a couple of other things, opportunities that can help make up to 30 hours of those volunteer requirement hours or required volunteer hours. And that might look at if you have 4-H experience, if you've worked in a dairy or a feedlot. So we're kind of looking for those industry and animal experiences so that you know what jobs are available and to make sure that this is a good fit for you. Anybody who's applying to our blended distance program, remember that you have to apply with the host clinic. So it's up to you to find it, not up to us. And so again, it's going out and reaching out to clinics and going, hey, I'm applying for the blended distance program at Saskatchewan Polytechnic, and I need a host clinic. Can I reach out to you and see if you're interested in sponsoring me for 2 years? So a couple of tips about this is anytime you're applying for either volunteer hours or for a host clinic, I strongly recommend that you treat it like a job, because there is a time and people investment and even money investment in having a volunteer and having a student on board. And so go in, have a cover letter prepared, have a resume prepared, go hunt out the owner or the manager and make an appointment to sit with them and say, this is what I'm looking for, and do you have time for me? In terms of finding a host clinic, if you're interested in our distance program, then I would also strongly recommend that your 60 volunteer hours happen in that host clinic. Because if you're going to spend 2 years there and these guys are going to be teaching you, it had better be a good fit. And certainly we have had students who end up at a clinic and they suddenly go, this is not a good fit. And if that happens, then again, we're going to have to be doing some massive juggling. So we don't want you in that position. So again, for finding a host clinic for the blended distance program, treat it like a job interview. Go spend the time, make sure that this is an environment that you can learn in and that you're comfortable learning in, and that they're good at teaching, because there are benefits to both sides when you make that prior time commitment. Do know that if you start the vet tech program and you want to transfer to another vet tech program in Canada, the courses don't transfer directly. And that's because all of us set up our programs differently. And unless if you finish by the end of the program of 2 years, you'll have covered the same things in every program. But if you're looking class by class across vet tech programs across Canada, there won't be a great match. But we do have transfer credit agreements set up with the U of S at the College of Agriculture. So graduates with our diploma will get advanced standing into the Bachelor of Science Animal Bioscience degree. We also have agreements with the University of Athabasca for their post-diploma degree in human sciences, and also with Lethbridge University for the Bachelor of Science program. And definitely lots of graduates from our program have kind of used the diploma as a stepping stone to go on and get a degree or some other type of certification down the line. So as mentioned, if you finish our diploma, you can go write that Veterinary Technology National exam called the VTNE. And if you have that combination of the diploma and the VTNE, then you can work as a registered vet tech in any province in Canada, and potentially in the US as well. So that's sort of, Saskatchewan has one of the highest standards to meet regulatory requirements for working as an RVT. So that's what we aim to get you guys upon graduating from our program. So in terms of job prospects, I'm really happy to say that we have like a 98% plus employment rate. Anybody who doesn't work as a vet tech is because they have opted not to, because they decide to go back to school or have other priorities. About 2/3 of our graduates never have to hunt for a job because they're offered a job by their practicum placements. The majority of our grads end up as clinical RVTs, so that's working in a private practice or a hospital. We have certainly got some graduates who end up going into what we call vet tech specializations. And so that's, they go out, work for a while, have about 2 to 5 years, depending on the area, under their belt as a vet tech, and then they can specialize in anesthesia, emergency and critical care, equine, so lots of different areas that you can go on with. Let's see, we have a number of our grads who now work at research facilities. So some of the ones that lots of people have heard about lately in the news is Vito. So a number of our grads work in their animal research division there, also at the various different research labs around the universities. We have some grads who end up in animal welfare, so working with Saskatchewan SPCA, that type of job, or with regulatory divisions. So that's usually government, Canadian Food Inspection Agency, and that could be again looking at either welfare or food safety inspection, imports, exports. So lots of different areas. It's not just clinical practice. However, there are some things that graduates will not do coming out of our program, and this I do want to point out. So there's certain things that a registered vet tech is not. So if you are interested in being a veterinarian, a registered vet tech is not a veterinarian. So that's a totally different professional degree that gives you a doctor of veterinary medicine. You do need an undergraduate in order to apply to go to the Western College of Vet Med, and then you end up having that name doctor in front of your name. So we are very different from that. Think of a registered vet tech. In the States, they've kind of renamed vet techs as vet nurses, just to allow for that distinction. A registered vet tech is also not going to train you to become an animal attendant, a groomer, or a dog trainer. So those are lay positions. You don't need a diploma to do those. Often some of the other ones that we come across are, you're not going to be an equine therapist, you're not going to be a farrier, and you're not going to be a zookeeper either. Okay, so those are sort of the big ones that I just want to point out our program is not going to set you up for. Definitely, you want to be interested in working with animals, but that can't be your only reason for coming into the vet tech program. So you want the science, you want the math and the science, you want to have those oral and communication skills, because you're going to be talking to people. You need to be able to verbalize and talk and have that team communication with that clinical team, and then also with the clients. So if you don't like speaking, you can get jobs, but the program is going to be tough for you to get through those clinical requirements. There is a physical health component. So you need to be able to lift. You need to be able to hold, to lift. And that example is if you are dealing with an 80-pound dog that wants to bite your head off, you have to have the physical strength, and we'll teach you the technical skills to be able to make sure you don't get hurt and that animal doesn't get hurt and the people around you don't get hurt. So physical strength is part of it. You have to be able to work in a team environment. Let's see what else. You have to be able to work under direction, because you are always part of the team. And especially when you're starting off, someone else is going to be the lead of that team. There has to be accountability for your own actions, because even though you are a team, you are responsible for your own components within there. And then accepting of feedback is a big part too. And you can rest assured that while you're in the program, whether you're in the classroom, in the lab, or in clinicals, you're going to have faculty and you're going to have those mentors saying, you did this well, but you're going to need to change how you did that. So being able to accept that type of feedback and to be able to respond to it is really important, both for success within the program as well as success within the job after you finish your program. If you start looking at all of the different programs across Canada, we all have sort of our specialization. And so Sask Polytech's area traditionally has been, we are really, really good at anesthesia, at pharmacology, at small animal medicine, and also at promoting that veterinary teamwork aspect. So those are sort of our specialty areas for training. If you start looking at different programs in different colleges and different provinces, everybody will have a specific niche. So making sure it's the best fit for you is great. Although all of the accredited programs, we do have that same core teaching. A lot of our employers come back to us and say, Sask Polytech grads are thinkers who can troubleshoot. And so that's, if you want it to be that employee who can apply that theory and into a practical situation and start doing that troubleshooting and that process, then we're probably the program for you. Let's see some other things that are really good about our program. So we have one of the highest success rates in the country for that VTNE, or that national exam. We have our stupendous employment rates. And one of the other things when you come into our program is, because we have the University of Saskatchewan, they have the Western College of Veterinary Medicine. So that is the center that trains veterinarians in Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and British Columbia. And they also have a teaching and referral hospital there. So our program doesn't have a hospital. We send the students out to local practices that we've partnered with for like 30 years. And that's where you'll get a lot of your training. But you'll also spend between 5 to 7 weeks at the WCVM's referral hospital. And so this is a primary teaching center. They have specialists, and our students who go there are going to learn the most up-to-date and the best practices, again, in terms of those veterinary technology techniques like anesthesia, surgical skills, how to manage cases. And so that's something that's absolutely an advantage in our program. And it's just that super high level of training that we're going to give you. So if we've got someone out there who's already in Saskatchewan, but they've got family, they've got a part-time job, and just moving to Saskatoon is not possible, then we also offer that flexibility right now. And our distance program is a little bit different. When we set it up, we didn't want to leave our students stranded, so they're learning on their own. One of the advantages of our program is we have what we call our distance faculty lead. So that is one faculty member who stays with each class from the day they enter till the day they graduate. And this person is going to know you inside out. They're going to know your clinics, and they're there to help guide you through that clinical learning and that self-learning process. And we put that in there because that's going to keep you on track and help you learn to the best of your abilities, even though you're far away from us. So yeah, those are some of the advantages that we have. So our students this week in first year, they have 4 hours of anatomy and physiology lecture with 3 hours of anatomy and physiology lab. They have 3 hours of communication classes, 2 hours of microbiology lecture, 2 hours of animal diseases lecture, and 2 hours of X-ray lecture. And then, so those are in the mornings, and then in the afternoons on Monday, they had 3 hours of radiology lab. On Tuesday, they had 3 hours of large animal lab. So that's procedures on how to restrain cattle, horses, sheep, swine, how to give injections, how to collect blood, how to listen to heart sounds and rumen sounds. On Wednesday afternoon, they have a nursing skills lab. So that one's actually in our classroom on these simulated models. And the students this week are learning how to place catheters and deliver IV fluids through those catheters that they've placed. And then on Thursday, they're going to have microbiology lab in the afternoon. On Friday, half of our students are going to spend a full day in clinics, and the other half are going to be in more X-ray lab. And those clinic students this week are also going to be in clinics on Saturday. So a pretty packed schedule, but there's a nice mix between the clinics, the labs, and then also that lecture component. Pay attention and use your time at your 60 volunteer hours carefully. Find out from the people you meet during those volunteer hours what the job is like and what the pay is like. Get an idea of how this will fit into your long-term career. When we think of, I want to work with animals, most people automatically gravitate to, you either have to be a farmer or you have to be a veterinarian. And not a lot of people actually know what a vet tech does in reality. So there's really a lot out there. Absolutely, yeah. Attend the College of Agriculture talk and the College of Medicine talks as well that you guys have set up, and get an idea of where you want your career goals to be. But know that all three, they're a pathway. So there's lots of different pathways to where you want to get to go, and absolutely, anyone who's interested can reach out to me and we can talk about how some of those learning pathways look that would incorporate the vet tech into it. Well, Saskatchewan Polytechnic has some really amazing supports. So we have, once you're in our program, we have faculty advisors. So we're going to try and really guide you along there in terms of career counseling and academic counseling. But Sask Polytech also has an Indigenous Student Success Program. So if on your application, if you are Indigenous or Métis and you want to self-declare, our Indigenous counselors will reach out to you and let you know what programs we have available. Some of them start the summer before you even come to class, and they all have to do with integration into Saskatoon, potentially helping you find elders to connect with, cultural and community resources, and an orientation program. So that's a really nice resource. They do have access to specific scholarships and bursaries as well that are specific for our Indigenous students. Then Student Services, again, has lots of resources there, including the accommodations division. And so students who may require a learning accommodation can reach out to this group, and we can definitely see what we can do to help you out to ensure your academic success when you're in the program. So our website has all the information I covered here in much more detail. If you you can Google Sask Polytech Vet Tech, and it'll take you to our webpage. And when you're there, there is an application section, application information for applicants section, and it talks all about the volunteer hours, what you need to apply. It talks about the distance program. There's a distance program orientation or applicant manual as well. So give that a good read if you're interested. It really highlights a lot of what the specifics are to that program. And very few people can find it, but if you scroll way to the bottom of our website, there's a section called Q&A, so question and answer, frequently asked questions. If you go there, 95% of the questions that I get by email are actually answered in that Q&A section of our website. So definitely go there, check it out. It'll give you hints on how to find those volunteer hours, how to apply for them. Lots of questions about tuition, supports, it's all in there.